My name is Helen Muyama. I am a businesswoman. I deal in printing, branding, graphics, located at Nasa Road, and also I'm a baker. I bake from home, very delicious cakes, by the way. So, not forgetting, I'm also a mother to 3 beautiful boys. I'm also a certified personal growth coach. I'd spent almost a full year not knowing what was going on. And that came just because my husband had found another person. That came at a point where he had cancelled a wedding. He had told me to prepare for our wedding earlier on in the year. But as time went on, he started pushing, no, we can wait. But of course, if you've stayed with someone, you don't really mind it. Since we had done all the other functions, we had done them apart. They were not under pressure. So this came as a shock to me. I cried. I literally cried myself for I don't know how long. And you're there, you're wondering, you're asking this person, what happened? What did I do? The person is like, nothing. You did not do anything. That was my choice. I feel that is what I'm supposed to do. So you're there in denial. You're wondering, now what next? Actually, you're confused because generally your life had been run together. So when that happened, I'm like, okay, now what next? Because me as a person, I grew up from a home that has a mother and a father. So I'm now facing a reality. You're like, okay, now I'm going to have someone in my space. I did not expect that. I thought my life was organized, everything was going to move as planned, because I'm a very organized person. We used to leave home together, come to work, because we actually work in the same place, live together. Around lunchtime, he would actually ask me to order for him food. If we are eating out, he calls you, he's like, I'm at this place, come find me. In the evening, everything was almost obvious. Me as a person, I don't think I even ever took a border. He was that handy husband, I should say. So when that stopped all of a sudden, so the only time you would hear from him is when you have called, maybe to give a concern about a child. You're like, maybe so this and this, we don't have food, maybe the child is sick. So somehow at that point you're trying to get validation from the person. You want the person to notice you. You knew the programs that were going on in the company. Right now you don't know. You don't know anything. Actually, you're just showing up to work so that probably you get an allowance, or basically you're just surviving, but you don't know what is going on. And of course, being at a point where you're angry, emotions are high, you cannot sit on a table to discuss. There was a time I spent a whole week at church, and I wasn't actually praying. I was just thinking, I'm like, how am I supposed to carry this cross? So you're here in church and actually just thinking, you're looking at people praying, you're at a point where you're tired. Actually, you have cried and you no longer know what to tell God. When I found out, as any person, you become inquisitive. You're like, who is this person? You look out. I got the number, saved it in my phone. And when I saved it, only to realize, I think the person already had my number. So I started seeing the statuses immediately. And that torture was so much. So out of anger, of course, you text this person. You try to tell them this will not last, this will not do this. But the information the person knows about you beats you up, because I think they always tell them the worst about us. So the person knows all your bad and they are putting it in your face. Therefore, you don't know anything about them. This person, of course, was the opposite of me, I should say. I'm a bit reserved. The person is talkative. I don't dance. I don't love music. The person was always posting photos with the person dancing, doing this and this. Actually, they were doing everything I wouldn't do and everything that I did think I would ever learn, because me, I don't have hopes of learning how to dance and all those things. And the person shows you that actually this person is enjoying everything of that, because all those were posted on statuses with the other person fully captioned. And you're wondering, all these things are coming on status, both on my husband's status and mine. So you're having all your mutual friends, us being workmates, you're having everyone who knows you viewing the statuses of your husband and clearly seeing another person there who they are intimate with, and they are putting it out there. What beat me so much was when this person thought that probably I desired a wedding so that I can take property. I'm like, really? He put it as the first thing. He's like, I know you women, you want property. I'm like, is that how you have known me? And that, of course, was used against me by the other party, the other girl. She was like, what kind of woman are you? Instead of building a home, you're there thinking they are going to wed you. What special thing do you have? What? Okay, all those mockeries came towards me. But another thing that really got me crying was how my family felt humiliated, because my mother would watch those statuses that he would post. But of course, as a mother, it gets to you. Of course, my sisters wouldn't stand that. They blocked him. But my mother, I felt her pain. Along the way, I picked myself up slowly by slowly. I've been getting a lot of knowledge. I attended the mentorship academy. I became a coach. I'm supposed to be talking to people. I'm supposed to be giving hope to people. Well, I do that, but I find that I'm still failing to give that to myself. I'm sad. Deep inside, I'm still sad. I don't know. Things keep playing backwards. I don't even know how to stand for my kids anymore. Because, of course, for them, they are always seeing you going to work. They expect mommy to bring this, mommy to bring that. And right now you're at a point that you don't even know how to help them, even when you know what to do. But you don't have the energy within you. I'm looking to get the best of myself. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm still sad. And yet everything seems to be organized. So I just want to organize myself. I want to give myself a pace once more.
Welcome to Bahati, talking about real issues that are affecting you as an individual. Insights about financial and personal growth, plus better relationships. And now, Bahati.
When we mention the word heartbreak, for so many people, it comes with feeling of grief, with feeling of sadness, numbness, anger, frustration, and depression. And for most of you that have gone through those different phases of, stages of breakups, you know very well that, you know what, it's not an easy journey. If someone is going through that, I look at them and I even send a prayer to them. For some of you that are still going through, you are at different phases and different reactions and different emotions. And so you look at the world with a heavy lens and sometimes with feelings of confusion and not knowing exactly what to do. And that is the story that we take on today. That is the picture that we draw today. And those are the lessons that we want to draw today. That this numbness, after some time, when someone tells you that you will overcome it, it's very hard for you to even look at them straight in the eye and even get any sense of hope and say, you know what, I think one day indeed I will overcome it. In that place, you feel lost and you feel like giving up, you feel like throwing in the towel, and you feel like there is nothing that you can do that can ease the pain. But again, breaking it down and going through the lesson by lesson helps us find ourselves in those different predicaments to be able to draw the hope and be able to master and know that it is a one day at a time. It's not a full year. It's not a 5 year. It's not the excitement journey and living a flamboyant life, but one day at a time, one decision at a time, and one failure at a time, and one relapse at a time. So that is what we talk about together with beautiful Helen. And there is beauty in your story that that you can't see. I've been there myself, and I know that when someone talks, when you're on the bridge and the bridge feels shaky, like you're about to fall, when someone tells you, I went through the same and now I crossed the bridge, it's very hard for you to say, you know, I will also cross. Most of the times you feel like maybe you were lucky, but maybe I'm going to drown where I am. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I'm fine.
Okay.
This morning, yes,
Okay.
I'm fine.
How are the boys?
The boys are good.
Okay.
They're fine. Just a little cough, of course, the weather.
Yeah, it's the season.
Yes, allergies and all that. But generally, they are fine.
Okay.
They are happy.
So picking up from your story and what you are going through, what you have gone through, the toughest is what you are currently actually going through. Because the actuality of someone coming to you and telling you that the possibility of us lasting is not there. It's a shock. It gets you numb. Now, when that settles in, that is where the most pain is in the process. I want to find out, how did the shock, like when it hit you, what exactly was going on in your mind?
Well, at the time when they told me, actually when he told me, because I did not find out from his phone, he told me himself.
Face to face?
Yes, face to face.
Took you out?
No, we were home. We were actually home. The kids had gone to school. That time we had 2 kids. And he told me, you know what, Helen? Actually, he asked me, what would you do if I got another person? But of course, you're like, no. You're like,
You're brushing it off.
You're brushing it off. You're not giving it a lot of thought. So then the conversation went on. And then he was like, actually, I have someone. So you're now looking. You're like, okay, I have someone. So like, anyway, it will not last. Those
That's
things.
what you told him?
Yes, I'm like, you men, you like that. It will not last. So as the conversation went on, he told me, no, actually, I let you know because I want to begin sleeping out without having to lie. So I'm now thinking, I'm like, okay.
Is this serious?
So, and within the short time, he told me, no, actually, I did the first visit. So I'm like, okay, so when did this happen?
So you had 2 children?
Yes.
Then?
Yes.
Okay. And he tells you he wants to start sleeping out without any kind of quarrels and any kind of
Yes.
conflicts. So, in other words, did it sound like he was preparing you to have a co-wife?
Yes, he was just informing me
That there is another person
that there
and
is
you have to
another
be okay with
person.
it because I'm going to
Yes.
start spending the nights the other side.
Yes.
Okay. So, how did it get to the point where he totally moves?
So that went on for like a year and a half.
And that's the period within which you got the third
Yes.
boy.
Yeah. So you're thinking, I'm like, because of course everyone you talk to tells you things might get worse. You know, anything
Prepare
can
for the
happen.
worst.
Prepare for the worst. You know, we pray, and there are people I think who see
And you
ahead.
start seeing the deterioration
No,
of
like
his actions.
you begin looking back at how they had been. There were some things you were questioning a bit.
And now they make
And
sense.
now everything is making sense. You're like, okay, this person, someone told me they saw them with somewhere. And of course, for you as a person who is busy, there are things you don't follow.
Yeah.
So here it comes. Now you're adding up. You're adding up stories, and you're like, okay, now this is it.
This is it, and I can see his actions.
He was not
do you
right.
feel like it got from the time that he prepared you, or he told not prepare you for the news, but he broke the news to you? Do you feel like it was a downward trend from there on, that everything started becoming worse after worse? So did he rise up one day and tell you, I am leaving?
No. Of course, at first he told me I'm going to be spending a few days there. But of course, me, when I knew about the visit, I called the mother. Shockingly, the mother was not aware. So he was called in for a meeting. So when they called him in for a meeting, that's when everything broke. The other time he was like, I'd given you the leeway to, since you're a nice person, but now since you've involved my family,
Then I'm just going to leave you.
let me just go.
Okay.
So he went.
Did that make you feel guilty for ending this relationship?
It did not end. He just started staying a week away.
And then he would come back to you?
Yes, he would just pass by. He spends a week like that. So now you're like,
So in that moment, had you resigned to being a first wife and know that he has a second wife? Were you willing to settle for that life?
of course, in the start, I'm like, no.
That's
But
not what you wanted.
he knows. Even up to now, he knows. Because I've always said, you can do what you want, but you know my position on that. It is not me. I may be here right now, but you know what I feel about this whole situation.
Okay.
So that time after him going, now they are thinking, you're like, this will end, this will end. Those things don't last.
Yeah.
And then he continues. Like it becomes worse and worse up to the point when one day he went and he never came back.
Okay.
He did not tell me.
Okay.
He just went, you wait for him, he doesn't come. The week that he was, another time, a month.
So that in that space, what went on in your mind? Because you're already like on a falling ground, but now even the last thing that you were holding on, that he comes at least for a week, now is no longer there. What were the emotions in that space?
I know, of course, at first you cry, you call. Actually, I think I disturbed two people a lot. That was my mom.
Yeah.
My mom, and there's a friend of mine
Mothers have a special
called
grace.
Kathy, yes. I used to call them on a daily, crying, like, what
were
is
you telling
happening?
them?
Every way how I felt. That's the exact thing, whether I was angry, I would tell them I'm sad.
The regrets?
No, I did not say that, by the way.
You were not regretting anything?
No.
So
because,
the ruling emotions were sadness and anger?
Yes,
Okay.
and me having planned out how I thought my family would be, I'm like, okay, now things are going the other way. Because I'm a bit organized, I had all my life planned out.
Let me take you back a bit. Before he totally moved away, did you ever have the slightest flicker of hope of maybe things might go back to the way they were before?
Yeah, definitely.
You had it.
Yes.
So you were doing everything in your power as a woman to try and make this work.
Yeah, I remained because honestly, we did not have any visible fights. Right from when we started. Of course, we had the normal arguments of couples, but nothing really that had ever gotten out of hand. And his reason for getting another person was not because I was bad, because he clearly stated it. He said, "Me, I just want another family. You have not done anything. I just want to have another family. And
So-
I'm not leaving you."
Okay.
Yes.
So which makes it harder?
Yes.
Because if you had done something and you were blaming yourself for the breakup of this relationship, then that would simplify it, because then you have closure. You're like, I brought this upon myself. But again, here you are nothing. He's saying you are good, but he's just giving you reasons. Just like people that break up without reasons, they usually give those shallow responses of, we're not good together. Maybe I'm not meant for you. Maybe I'm just not ready for that commitment. Maybe so they give you the shallow answers that don't have any depth. And yet what you are looking for is, at least give me a reason, a substantial reason that I can understand that I was bad, so that I know that I was bad. Or you just don't love me, which is also very shallow, because you say he was good.
Yes.
And everything was going on so well. So I want us to just get in touch with the kind of questions that you have, because those are the questions that stick in our minds for the longest time, and that hold us from even making a forward movement.
Along the way, there were, like, you keep discussing, then this person keeps saying maybe you are not strong enough in business. That's much later when you try to press and press to find out what is. It cannot just be out of the blue, because how come you never mentioned it in the start? Mia, we've been working together.
You were polygamous, but you didn't mention it.
He said
You wanted to get a second
Yes,
woman.
it was not mentioned, because all this news actually comes at a point when we're planning for our wedding. That's when that news came in. So you're like, now, if you really knew you were going to do that, why did you even inform my people
About the whole wedding
that
and
you wanted
commitment?
to formalize everything? Why did you go ahead? So you're there wondering, you're like, okay, now business, I've been running it, what have I done wrong? Maybe we don't have the same thoughts. So you're actually blaming yourself for maybe you failed the person, because this person is a fast thinker, he's a forward thinker, he's very fast.
So you find reasons within you,
Yes.
instead of getting reasons from him, because you can't.
Yes.
You find reasons within you, but the reasons are beating yourself down and finding reasons, pointing fingers at yourself, at what you could have done wrong to bring down this this relationship. Now, for most of us that are following this story, I know that you have your personal story, and I know that we will find time and sit down with you and be able to break down that story. But until then, if you're going through a heartbreak, we have what we call the stages of a heartbreak. And you heard her talk about, I am sad. Sincerely, I am just sad and angry at the same time. And I know that some of us are actually going through the same kind of feeling, the same kind of confusion. When this, I want us to first draw the first lesson in this, is the ambivalence that happens between the breaking of the news to the time and the decisions are actually made. Because that is, should I stay? Should I live with this? Should I accept this predicament? I know my values, and my values, one of them is, I do not want to be in a polygamous marriage. I want to be a monogamous marriage, and I want to be in a respectful marriage where there is commitment and where there is a wedding and a ring on my finger, and we establish a proper family. Those are my values, and those are the things that I want. But someone presents a different option on the table, and you're left asking yourself, the bargaining, because you sincerely, you see that it was a full year that she even got a child within this period, asking questions, asking other people, what should I do? Someone tells you, you should leave, things are going to get worse, but inside of her she has the hope that things are going to be better. So the ambivalence takes quite some time for us to come to a conclusion or make even a decision. And that decision, usually we move into a state of denial, a state of sadness, a state of confusion, a state of, there's so many things that we go through, a state of bargaining with ourselves, which we will talk about as we get into the other episode. But if you're going through it, know that there are phases, and you're going to go through those phases, and it's not going to be a marathon, or it's not going to be a swift run. It's going to be a slow run, and at the end of it, there's light. But right now, you cannot see it. But I will tell you that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Keep with us.